If you've been scrolling through endless generator listings, comparing wattage charts and price tags, and still feel stuck about which unit actually makes sense for your needs, this review is going to clear that up. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. I've spent the last few weeks looking at how a 15,000 watt dual fuel generator fits into real-world scenarios: home backup, job site power, even weekend tailgating, so you can skip the guesswork and decide if this Pulsar model is worth the slot in your garage. First off, let's talk about the core promise: 15,000 watts from a single portable unit that can run on either gasoline or propane. On paper that sounds like a Swiss Army knife for power, but the value really shows up when you map it to actual use. Imagine a typical suburban home that loses power during a summer storm. You've got a refrigerator, a few lights, a sump pump, maybe a small electric heater. Those essential loads add up to roughly 3,000 watts. The Pulsar can comfortably handle that load while still leaving headroom for a few extra devices, like a laptop charger or a portable air conditioner, without tripping the breaker. Because it's dual fuel, you could fill up on gasoline for the first few days and then switch to propane when the tank runs low, effectively extending your outage window without a frantic trip to the gas station. Now, who should actually consider buying this generator? If you live in an area with frequent grid interruptions, own a small workshop that needs reliable power for compressors and saws, or love taking large-scale tailgate parties where you need to run multiple TVs, grills, and maybe a portable fridge, the 15,000 watt capacity gives you the flexibility to avoid multiple smaller units. The electric start is a genuine convenience: no more pulling a cord and hoping the engine catches on a cold morning. The 50-amp outlet also means you can plug in a whole house transfer switch if you're comfortable setting that up, turning the generator into a true backup system rather than a single appliance supplement. On the flip side, this isn't a good fit for anyone who just needs a tiny, occasional boost for a single device. If you're looking for something to power a campsite lantern or a modest electric kettle, the bulk and fuel consumption of a 15,000 watt machine will feel overkill. Likewise, if you have strict weight limits, say you need to load it onto a small trailer or a roof rack, the unit size and mass, typical of a VT twin engine in this power class, can be a real hassle. It's not something you'll happily carry up 3 flights of stairs without a dolly or a helper. Let's dig into the practical strengths. The 713 cubic centimeters VT twin engine provides a smooth, low-ripple power output, which matters when you're running sensitive electronics like a home security system or a medical device. Users have reported that the engine idles quietly enough that you can keep it running overnight without the whole house feeling like a construction site. The multiple outlet options, standard 120V, 240V, and a 50-amp twist lock, mean you can plug in a mix of small tools and heavy equipment without needing extra adapters. Runtime is another hidden win. When you run on propane, the fuel burns cleaner, and the tank lasts longer than many comparable gasoline-only units, which translates to fewer refuel stops during a prolonged outage. Weaknesses show up when you start looking at the day-to-day handling. The generator's fuel tank capacity, while generous for a 15,000 watt machine, still requires you to monitor levels closely if you're pulling continuous full-load power. Running at the top of its wattage range will drain gasoline noticeably faster than propane, so you'll need to plan your fuel strategy ahead of a long outage. Noise, although reduced by the VT twin design, is still present at about 70 dB at full throttle, louder than a typical conversation, but comparable to a busy street. That can be a consideration for neighborhood rules or for using the unit in a quiet camping environment. Finally, the price point sits in the higher mid-range for portable generators, so the value proposition hinges on actually needing that 15,000 watt ceiling. If you only ever tap 5,000 watts, you might be paying for power you'll never use. A real-world example helps illustrate the trade-offs. I spoke with a small business owner who runs a mobile pressure washing service. He needed a generator that could handle a 7,000 watt pressure washer, a 1,500 watt water heater, and a couple of lights all at the same time. He tried a 6,500 watt unit first, only to watch the breaker pop when the pressure washer hit its peak. Upgrading to the Pulsar solved that problem instantly, and the ability to switch to propane on a job site where gasoline is scarce saved him 2 trips per week. However, he also noted that the unit's weight made loading it onto his service van a bit of a chore, so he installed a small lift gate to make the process smoother. If you're the type who likes to be prepared, whether that means a whole house backup plan, a reliable power source,